Today, you're going to fire up one of my favorite flies to tie, Devin Olsen's Blowtorch. Let's get started by securing a Hanak H400 BL jig hook in the vise, paired with a 3.2mm silver slotted tungsten bead. This combination gives the Blowtorch its perfect profile and weight. And as always, you can find the materials needed to tie this fly listed in the video description. After laying down a thread base using UTC 70 in fluorescent orange, grab a strand of Glo-Brite number 5. Fold the strand of Glo-Brite over to create 3 fibers. Use a pinch wrap to secure the fibers just before the bend of the hook. Keep your thread flat and make even wraps all the way back to the bead. Trim the excess Glo-Brite right behind the bead. Then, use your scissors to neatly cut the fibers at the bend of the hook to form the bright, eye-catching Blow Torch tag. Tie in a strand of pearl crystal flash to use as ribbing. Position it into the slot of the bead and secure it with a few firm thread wraps. Wrap your thread back carefully, stopping right at the base of the tag. Create a thin dubbing noodle using Wapsi peacock dubbing. This adds a subtle, natural sheen to the body. Wrap the dubbing noodle forward using touching turns. Make sure to keep the noodle tight so that you don't add any unnecessary bulk to the profile of this fly. Once the body is dubbed, counter wrap the pearl crystal flash up the fly. This step creates segmentation, adds durability, and provides just the right amount of flash to catch a trout's attention. Secure the ribbing with a few tight wraps of thread just behind the bead. Snip the excess crystal flash. Then use 2 fingers to form a loop in your thread and secure it with a few wraps behind the bead. Insert your dubbing twister tool into the loop that you've created. On one side of the dubbing loop, add a small amount of SLF Spikey Squirrel dubbing. Next, take one side of a CDC feather. Splay the fibers, then carefully insert the feather into the dubbing loop. Pull down on the dubbing twister to lock the feather securely in place. Use a long pair of scissors to make a single cut to free the CDC fibers from the stem. Now, spin the dubbing twister to blend the CDC fibers and dubbing into a buggy textured collar. Wrap the dubbing loop forward, pulling the CDC fibers back with each turn to create that signature collar. Wrap the dubbing loop forward until you reach the back of the bead. Pull the CDC fibers backward with each turn to create the collar. Take your time with this step. Try to make slow, touching turns forward. You want the collar of this fly to be somewhat sparse, just enough to give the fly some natural motion. Once you're satisfied with the shape, tie off the loop and trim any excess material. To finish the fly, coat your thread with a bit of UV resin. Then make a 4 or 5 turn whip finish to lock everything into place. Cure the UV resin to reinforce the head and create a vibrant hotspot. To trim the CDC collar, just use your fingers to pinch the fibers to make them somewhat even. You've just tied the Blowtorch, a highly effective tag nymph. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to check out troutstrike.com. Thank you for watching. Now, it's time to step away from your vise and get out on the water.